Look at this chart. This towering bar represents the $96,000 in debt carried by the average American. Next to it is a nearly invisible line showing their emergency savings. Over half of the population cannot even cover a $1,000 emergency. If you follow the standard path of taking on debt, climbing the corporate ladder, and spending every raise you get, this chart becomes your reality. Avoiding this trap requires playing by a completely different set of rules. Today, we are going to build your personal financial freedom blueprint. To do this, you need your tools right now. Go grab a pen, a blank piece of paper, your most recent bank statement, a calculator, and your physical credit cards. Do not just listen to this in the background. If you consume this information without doing the math on your own expenses, nothing changes. You have to physically write these numbers down as we go. By completing the physical steps on this piece of paper, you map out the exact actions required to transition from a vulnerable consumer to someone who controls their own financial outcomes. Step 1. At the absolute top of your blank paper, write down the phrase, "I have the power." In the 1960s, researchers placed dogs in a cage where they experienced mild shocks with no way out. Later, the dogs were moved to a new cage where they could easily escape the shocks by just jumping over a small partition. Most of them never tried. Because their past situation was inescapable, they assumed their present situation was too. This is learned helplessness, and it is exactly why most people resign themselves to being poor forever. Overcoming that requires extreme ownership. Even if you think the economic system is rigged, using that as an excuse guarantees you will stay stuck inside it. You have to claim responsibility for your circumstances. Warning tone. When you do this, expect resistance. Like crabs in a bucket pulling back the one crab trying to escape, your friends will likely point out why you shouldn't be pushing yourself. They will tell you to live a little and spend your money. Making progress requires becoming aware of these behaviors, so you don't let them dictate your choices. True financial discipline starts by mentally separating yourself from the comfortable excuses of the crowd around you. Step 2. Look at your bank statement. Pick 3 recent discretionary purchases, things you wanted but didn't strictly need, and write them down. This is the time cost calculation. At $20 an hour, a $100 bar tab equals 5 hours of life. Apply that math to a $500 car payment, 25 hours. That is half a work week owed every month. Converting dollars into hours forces a physical reality check. A $40 t-shirt represents 2 hours of labor. This perspective makes you decide if you are willing to trade 2 hours of your life specifically for that piece of clothing. When you accurately calculate the price of your own time, mindless spending naturally stops. You stop trading your life for things you don't actually care about. Step 3. Look at the credit cards you grabbed earlier and check your most recent statement. Verify whether or not you paid the entire balance in full last month. On average, people in the United States carry $6,500 in credit card debt. At a typical 23% interest rate, that equals roughly $1,400 thrown away every year just to service the debt. If you carried a balance last month, pick up the card right now, take a pair of scissors, and cut it in half. If you cannot pay off the balance at the end of every single month, you are not allowed to use this tool. Throw the pieces in the trash and use a debit card or cash until you build the discipline to avoid the interest. There is no investing strategy that safely outpaces 23% consumer debt. Eliminating these high-interest liabilities is the mandatory first step before you can build any real wealth. Step 4. Look at your total monthly income. Calculate 30% of that number and write it down. This is your new baseline savings target. Standard financial advice tells you to save 10% or 15% of your money. If you want to actually buy your freedom while you are still young enough to enjoy it, that advice is useless. Hitting a 30% savings rate requires heavy lifestyle changes. It means choosing an older, paid-off car instead of financing a new one. It means taking an average U.S. rent of $2,000 and cutting it to $1,000 by getting a roommate. Look at your expenses and identify one massive cut you can make. Decide what it is right now and write it down on your blueprint. This level of saving feels difficult, but it is a direct trade. You are trading minor immediate comforts to aggressively buy back decades of your future time. Step 5. Go onto your phone and cancel one streaming service right now. You are taking back your nights and weekends. Binge-watching a show with multiple seasons consumes hundreds of hours. If you take those exact same hours and reallocate them toward building a skill, your financial trajectory completely changes. This split screen shows the difference in outcome. One person spends their weekend on the couch. The other used their free time to record simple video reviews of products they already owned and generated $15,000 over 2 years from those videos. Write down one specific, high-value skill you will start learning this weekend. It could be video editing, coding, or learning how to start a side business. When you stop spending all your free time consuming media and start producing value in your off hours, you remove the ceiling on what you can earn. Look at your paper. You now have a documented time cost of your habits, a strict 30% savings target, a high-value skill to learn, and the physical pieces of your old spending habits sitting next to it. Executing this will not be easy. It means you will be eating dinner at home while your friends are out spending money. It means working on a Saturday morning instead of sleeping in. You can read financial books and watch explainer videos for the next 10 years, but none of it matters if you do not implement tiny, consistent habits starting today. Take the single extreme lifestyle cut you wrote down in step 4 and make the phone call or cancellation required to enforce it before you go to sleep tonight. If you stick to these rules and aggressively save your money, your financial position 5 years from now will look nothing like the average statistics we started with.